All right, welcome back to another fine video from Jaymob on the Dyna Pro Concepts, and I'm also using some MAs, EMAs. I'm using the Pirago and the Asian session. So here I am live NAS right now, and my orange is the 13. My white is the 50. The yellow is a 200. I got the midline here, and this is NOS right here. This is a nice FVG gap right here. So I'm gonna write this right here. This is FVG gap right there. Nice little FVG gap right here. I'm gonna throw another one right here. This crossed over right here. These two. This little EMA's yellow white crossover right there. So you've got a higher high up here. This is the upper bands. So this would have been resistance up here. Resistance in the upper bands. So band, if it's spelled correctly. So this would have been a nice area to sell right in here. I'm gonna put a little arrow here, a little X. This would have been a nice area to sell right here. Here's an FBG gap. So you can see here that this little wick, a candle here, came right into the FBG gap. So this could have been an entry right here. Could have entered right in here. But as you can see, this is a downtrend because the EMA's crossed right here. This would have been a nice little entry here of higher high. You had a little pullback here. And it came down, created a lower low. Here's your breaker structure right here. Kind of close to the FVG gap. So then I come down here, and so if you took this trade from here, from this point here, all the way down to here, you see that where it's reversing, getting ready to reverse because it's got a little buy signal here. So I put in this little line here to represent the change of character here and the breaker structure right here. So theoretically, you could draw a little zone right here. There's a little teeny weeny zone right there. Because that's showing support right here, a little support right here. Right here. This is a little support zone right here on NAS right now, support zone. So you should be looking for buys in this area right here. Now you see that this created a little FVG gap right here, small one, a little baby one. So we can clone down here, come down here and see how long that will last on here. Kind of go from there. Now I'm on a 3-minute time frame, so this is a scalping procedure of how you would do this. So this created a little support zone down here. We can see that we have resistance in the upper bands up here. New York started around 8. So if he was in New York, you would have probably got in someplace around here where this EMA's crossed, or when this level got broken, it's breaker structure. So right here is the breaker structure, change the character level, and it got broke. So BOS COHC. That's kind of where it broke right here in this area right here. So you could have entered this trade right in here because this broke here. You got a liquidity candle right here. So this area broke structure and it kind of retested and then it took off to the races. So you could have entered right here. This would have been a nice entry point right here. Let me just draw this right there. That would have been an entry point. Right when that candle opened up, that could have been entry right in New York. Entry point. Entry. Right there. That would have been a nice little entry level right there. Okay, so that's kind of how we were looking at this right so far. So far so good. This resistance and upper bands. It's created a higher high. So now you see this candle here is coming in this FVG gap right here, and it's testing this particular FVG gap right now. But also you see that this is a downtrend from here to here. So you gotta be mindful of this area right here. This could have been, this is the support zone right here, right there. So we gotta be mindful of that. And actually I'm gonna just create a X for that. And you see how this wick came down here, right? It's wick. So that's a strong wick right there, kind of like an exhaustion candle wick right there. So you gotta be mindful of this area here. This is support zone right here because of these levels down here. See how price came right down and bounced on the 200 EMA, the yellow 200 EMA. So it didn't close below the support level we have right here. This little support zone, I can put it right here. That's a little support zone. So you can see that NOS didn't close below. This candle didn't close below. This candle didn't close below. Those candles up here. So, and we got a blue ribbon down here for a buy. So it's coming back down here to test the support here. So let's see, we would expect price to possibly maybe come here, maybe, and then retest it and come back into the FVG gap, maybe play around in this area for a while, and then maybe try to break up here someplace where you can get some resistance perhaps, and then probably go up here someplace and see what's going on. Because remember, it's in the upper bands before, so that might be a possible move. Or you might see a break to the downside. So you might come down here and break the support zone, come back and retest it, and then come down here someplace. That means it's breaking the 200. So that could be a possible move for this here. And now you're coming, now you're playing around in the lower bands here, see? And then they could probably retest. They probably come here. Perhaps it could come here, right? Come here, right there. And then retest some of these other lower FVG gaps. So these are previous FVG gaps that have been printed already from over here. So I'm gonna come over here and write that in here. Clone this, come here and put this here. This is another support zone, and this is so these are some other previous FVG gaps. You gotta be mindful of that, because down here, if you come down here, you'll be looking for support zones, more support zones down here on this level down here, and this is all near the lower band. Now remember, I'm using a couple of indicators here: Pro Concepts, Pro Algo. I'm using some SMAs, and I'm using the Asian session. And so let me copy this support zone here, clone this, come down here. So I like what I see right here. So this is a possible move for NOS down here. So we're just gonna kind of see what's going on with it, because like I said, it came from up here. So this is New York session, came up here and created a higher high right here, right? Created a higher high right there. So this higher high now would have been an entry level right at the top of the bands we said before. Came down here, I got a crossover here. Let's go over here and let's clear this out. This is a crossover. You see it crossed over right here. So the 50, I got a cross of 13 and 50, right, to the downside. So this would have told me that this would have been confirmation that I've got a downtrend coming here, since this crossover is right here to the downside. And I got my FVG gaps here, or the order blocks right there, right? So that's a good thing. And then it closed underneath the 13, and then it closed underneath the 50. But see, it never closed below the, well, here's the midline here. So it came and retested the midline, didn't close, it closed below the midline. So you got a lot of confirmations here that this is a good sell opportunity. So if I come over here and write notes, actually, I could probably come over here and use this notepad right here. So there's a lot of notes here that one could see. See a notepad here. So what do I have for confirmation. These are confluences for sell for NAS 3-minute. 1, I had a higher high. 2, resistance in the, I'm gonna call it upper bands, right? Notes over here, notes. 3, what do we have? 3, price closed under 13, right? 13, 4, cross of 13 and 50 to the downside, right? 5, you need more. It's in the red FVG gaps, and there's a couple of them here, right? You got 1, 2, so you see that. Then you've got another one, the break of structure right here. I'm gonna call it right there, break of structure. So you got a break of structure right there, right? So you got a break of structure. So you stay in the trade. 6, price closed below midline, and the 50, right? The 50 right here, closed below the midline of 50. Here's the 50 right here, and here, midline 50, and it retested midline, retest of midline, or wicked at midline right here. So that tells you come down here. Then it bounced on the support zone, and now it just printed a lower low here. So we should be taking this back up. This is the confluences for sell for non 3-minute right here. You got a little pullback here. So you could have gotten in the pullback right here. So even if you didn't get in here, it bounced on the 50, right? The price came here, bounced on the 50, got a little pullback. So you could have got in on the pullback right here. You could have got in right here, entry on the pullback. Entry on the pullback. So that could have been another entry for you right here. If you didn't get in, here, these candles over here could have entered on the pullback. Hit the pullback right here, bounced on the 50. So came down here, created a lower low on the 50. Then another hit here on the 50. Then it hit here on the 50. And then it came up here and made a pullback here. Right there. So then when the pullback came, the other candle came, and by that time you've got the crosses of 13, 50 to the downside, and then you come down here, and this is where we are, the support zone right here. Please, it closed below the midline, and now we're kind of at the bottom of New York. This is the bottom of New York right here. So here's a little support zone right here. This is the bottom of New York right here, right in here, because this is the lower low of New York right here. This is the lower low of New York right here. This little right there. So this is the higher high of New York, and this is the lower low of New York. So this is the high of New York right there. So you can put a line here to represent, that's the high right there. That's the high of New York right there today. See that? I'll put it right here, right there, on top of that, and move this over here. Okay. So then again, what am I using? I'm using the Pro Concepts, Smart Money Concept, Pro Algo, Asian session. You can take the Asian session off. I use the Asian session just to show New York session, but you can take it off, right? See that? You can take the Pro Algo off. See that? And then you're just dealing with, and you can take the SMAs off too. See that? So now you just got the Pro Money Concepts right there. See? And it looks a little clearer, but I like to, if I add the Pro Algo on here, then it tells me I'm in the upper bands here, and you've got your take profit and reversals, and I could put my SMA on there so I can see where the crossover happened. And the Asian session just tells me that this is the high of New York, this is the low of New York right here. So these little arrows here are telling the path that I think NAS could go. And you see right now, Nas is playing support right here. These candles are support zone right here. So you can see, and you can see this is a live trading session right here. So you could have, like I said, you could have had the sell here all the way down here. So now this will be entry now. So now it's playing on, this is the midline here, and that's the 50 and the 13. So it's still below the 13. You can see the crossover of the 13 and 50 strong right here. So now this is playing some support on the midline, and you get the FVG gap right here. So it's a possibility that you could get some resistance in here. But on this 3-minute time frame, we've got a low buy signal. If I jump to the higher time frame, 5-minute time frame, you see that there's a little uptrend going on. There's a little bit of resistance here, this candle right here. And if I jump to the 15-minute time frame, I've got a little bit of more information. So now you see on the 15-minute time frame, this little red candle is getting stuck here in this little FVG gap here on the 15-minute time frame. On the 15-minute time frame, looks like it's going down. So that might have been like a nice little scalp. But you see that on even on the 15-minute time frame, I could have gotten a sell here. So that's 3 time frames telling me I could have had a sell. 3-minute time frame right there, 5-minute time frame, right? Remember, this is scalps, and the 15-minute time frame. So, and these are my confluences for the reason why I would take a sell on a 3-minute time frame right here in New York. So this 3-minute time frames right here. I'm going to go to the 3-minute time frame over here and just look at it one more time. Let's zoom out a little bit and see. So you can see why I would have taken this trade. This trade here would have been a trade opportunity to jump in right here or at the crossover right there. And you have all these confluences. You got a higher high right there. You have resistance and upper bands. You have price close underneath the 13. It's 13 EMA, or it might be SMA. I think SMA, right? Because I'm using SMAs. And across the 13 and 50 right here, and you have the red FVG gaps, which support is showing resistance. So that's a good point here. You could have got in on the breaker structure, which is right in here. This candle broke structure right here. So you could have entered right on this pullback right here when it came to when this candle here wicked right into the FVG gap. Like I said, again, you get the breaker structure. Price close below the midline. This is a midline right here. This thick white line is the midline. And you see how it retested the FVG gap here and came back down. So then we know that the trend is probably going to be over because I got this reversal right here. I got this lower low down here. And I got this little blue ribbon on my oscillator telling me that it's going to be a reversal coming soon. And plus, I've got some strong support zones down here from previous price action showing FVG gaps on a 3-minute time frame. So now we've got this came up here to the bid line. This candle here is coming back down here as expected because it wicked right at the FVG gap. And this candle here is coming back down to retest the support zone. So this support zone right here that we created right here, based on this change of character over here and this bigger structure over here, is probably going to be a strong zone because it's retesting it. See, now look at the retest candles. This candle here is on that zone right there. This one here, this liquidity candle is on that zone right there. You see it's inside the zone, right? This candle here is retesting this zone right there, right there. So I got 3 candles. This is another candle over here that retested the zone. There's 4 candles right there, right? 4 here, and then there's another one over here. So there's a lot of retesting on these zones here. And this candle here retested this here. So here's another one. So I'm just pointing arrows on the candles that are retesting this zone here, right? This one here. And you see, let me just go over here and do this. And this candle here is on that zone. This one's on this zone. This one, little doji, is on that zone. There. This is the reversal candle here. And of course, this candle went up the other way, and this candle came to the midline, and we tested the midline, showing resistance on the midline, showing resistance at the FVG gap. So we got two of the candles coming down here. So what we're expecting to do is to see we've got some serious price action going on here. So we're seeing to see if this candle here will break this zone or keep bouncing on this zone here. So this is when you, like I said, you would have got in here, and you would have got out down here someplace, and then you would look for the next setup. So this is a quick tutorial on, or we'll call it confluences for sell for NAS 3-minute using the Pro Concepts version 2 indicator. Thank you.